right now. Larry Elder, thanks so much for coming on. I'm sorry to make fun of the slurs that they've leveled against you, but they're so ridiculous that it's probably a good sign. Would you agree that maybe they are worried?
Well, they're scared to death, Tucker. The only thing I would add to your wonderful and entertaining monologue is this. The decline in the quality of government schools in California. We're near the bottom in reading and math scores. 75% of black boys cannot read at state levels of proficiency, and those levels are low. Half of all third graders cannot, and 80% of the kids educated in government schools in California are black and brown. These are the very ones that the left claims that they care about. Now, the polls show that the majority of urban parents, black and brown, want choice in education, and that's one of the things they're scared to death about. I support choice so that the money would follow the child rather than the other way around, and a parent would be able to put her child in a private school, a parochial school, a religious school, or even homeschooling, dare I say. And they're scared to death. The largest funder of my opponent, Gavin Newsom, is a teachers union, and they're the most powerful union in this state.
I mean, one-party states don't work. They didn't work in 1970s Romania, and they're not working in the state I was born in that's been completely destroyed by the mismanagement of one party. That's just true. I'd say that if there were Republicans wrecking it. It just doesn't work. What's so interesting is that the people who are defending our democracy, that chick from the LA Times, for example, the race lady in MSNBC, they're terrified of democracy. The idea that people might like you or want to change or just be dissatisfied with the offerings they have. Well, I mean, why don't they just come out and say, we're against democracy, we're for oligarchy, shut up and take it?
Well, they ought to, and they can't defend his record. Elizabeth Warren cut a commercial for Gavin Newsom and talked about this being a Republican takeover. Didn't say anything at all about the rising crime, the rising cost of living, the rising homelessness, the fact that for the very first time, people are leaving California. Tucker, just today, there was a long report by the Hoover Institution that shows that the rate at which businesses are leaving California for the first 6 months of this year is twice the rate at which they've left in the last 3 years. And it's across the board: manufacturing, aerospace, finance, and even tech. They always thought tech was always going to remain in California. They're leaving as well. And they're citing the cost of living here in California, taxes and regulations, which are all through the roof.
Elizabeth Warren should be ashamed of herself. How can any normal person who's not visually impaired go to Los Angeles, San Francisco, two of our greatest cities, really, they are two of our greatest cities, in my opinion, and say things are fine? You know, it's just great. I mean, this looks great. I'm really kind of happy with that. Like, how can they say that?
Well, it's all of his friends, and that's why he's raised almost $50 million to defeat me. And they're coming from big tech, they're coming from Hollywood, coming from the teachers union and the public sector unions, which are extremely powerful here in California. He's raised, as I said, $50 million. He's probably going to spend about $75 million. He's going to outspend the recall side almost 9-1, and that's why I need some help. That's why I'm asking people to go to electelder.com and throw a little something in the tip jar, because I have expenditure limitations. He can raise and spend an unlimited amount of money, and he's doing just that.
Yeah. Well, if they're calling you a white supremacist, just tells you everything about their sincerity. They'll say anything. They're only about power. We should. Yeah. The black face of white. You know,
the black face, I mean, the black face of white supremacy.
You know, it makes me mad on your behalf. I've taken a lot of that myself. But, you know, they need to be overthrown is the bottom line. And Godspeed, man. I hope you do it. Larry Elder, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate it. God bless.